Alrighty, 11:02. How's it going? We are at our fifth week here. We have a little bit more than a month of the term left. Okay, this term is going to end in early to mid December for the high school, if I have my dates right. Correct me if I'm wrong. But where we are right now, we are finishing our fiction unit and we're getting into poetry. Okay, we might slow down a little bit after this, and I really want to give us a lot of time with poetry. It is my area of specialty. It's something that I think is, in terms of studying literature, critically important to understand how the crystallization of language conveys meaning in probably a more powerful way than any other medium of speech or writing out there. Okay, there's a lot of play involved in poetry. Okay, there's a lot to puzzle over reading poetry. Okay, poetry is for thinking and taking in and digesting and fully marinating in all of its complexity. That complexity comes from a variety of methods, whether it be tone, style, symbol, figurative language, form. There's so much to consider in poetry. So what we are going to do, we're going to finish this week, and we only have one assignment this week. Okay, we're in between papers right now. I'm going to have your Cask of Amontillado essays returned to you by the end of the week. And then your second analysis essay, which is going to be due at the end of next week, at the end of week 6, is going to be on William Shakespeare's Sonnet 29. And that is on page 638 in the portable literature text. So it's probably a good idea to start reading that, and maybe kind of explicating the Shakespearean 17th century diction into more understandable 2019 diction, jargon, etc., so that you can maybe sort to or start to kind of paraphrase and tease out the meaning before you have to write a paper on it. And I'm going to have a prompt for you with the rollout of next week's announcement. Okay, but what we have this week is just a discussion forum. Okay, now I have discussion questions, and again, I pull those from portable literature. You'll see the attachment in the week 5 announcement. You'll see DQS3. Okay, in the announcement, if you open that up, you will see that we have our final short story, D.H. Lawrence's The Rocking Horse Winner. Okay, you have 2 questions there. Then we move on to chapter 16 in poetry. 16, we also have chapters 17, 18, and 19. So chapter 16 is called Voice, all right? And the poem that I have is William Wordsworth's The World is Too Much with Us. Chapter 17, Word Choice, Word Order, Living in Sin by Adrian Rich. And there is a question per poem, 2 questions for the last fiction piece, but 1 for the Wordsworth, 1 for the Rich. And then we have a couple other poems too. Chapter 18, which is about imagery. The poem is called Echoes, and that is by Hart Crane. And then we're going to finish this week chapter 19, Figures of Speech, Metaphors by Sylvia Plath. And by the way, for each of these chapters, you're going to kind of shortchange yourself and probably not be able to answer the questions completely unless you read the introductory material on each of the chapters. So for each chapter, and this goes back to the beginning of looking at literature for the fiction sections too, whatever the unit was, whether it was myth or allegory or tone or whatever it was, there was always introductory material where the editors of the textbook actually go into detail about these concepts we're talking about. And then, of course, the piece of literature sort of exemplifies that concept in its content, okay? So this is all to say you should be reading the introductory material for imagery, for figures of speech, for theme, for word choice, word order, for voice, okay? So that you have a complete understanding of what you are being asked to do in each of the questions here, okay? So all in all, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 questions. But you're answering the questions in the discussion forum, and you will see that in the Week 5 folder. So you individually answer your 6 questions, submit to the forum, and then we all look at each other's, okay? Offer any feedback, any maybe some challenges. Maybe you saw things differently. Maybe you want to add on to what your classmate had to say. You should have substantive responses, though. You know, our classic form rules have been you supply your own response, and then in order to get full credit, you have to engage with at least one other classmate's post. These should be substantive responses, though. Don't just say, good answer to number 5 there, so-and-so, okay? That's not going to cut it, okay? You have to actually engage with your fellow classmate. The whole point being is to start a conversation with each other, okay? And I jump in there too. I'm going to be jumping in there throughout the week, engaging a few of you throughout. So please remember to be thorough in your engagement with each other in this discussion forum. But that's all we have this week, okay? We're not going to do a journal this week. We're not going to do a blog this week. Those will return throughout the coming weeks. And one other thing I want to point out now, it's not going to be until a little while, over a month, but remember, the final MLA Research Literary Analysis essay is on Sophocles' Oedipus Rex, and I know the prompt that I want us to do. So if you're planning ahead here, okay, what we're going to be answering for this final essay is going to have to do with the critical perspective on page 1228. Okay, that is the book. It brings up a critic's sort of a point of analysis that this critic offers to an aspect of the play, and the critical perspective prompt asks you to kind of grapple with that critic's point of analysis, his argument. Okay, so on 1228, it is the critical perspective there tied in with Sophocles' Oedipus Rex. So if you want to take a look at it, not a bad idea. Remember, the end of next week, Sonnet 29, William Shakespeare's. I will have the prompt then for that second literary analysis, and then all for this week is the discussion questions. And you supply your answers in the discussion forum, and you engage with your classmates, okay? 6 questions, so there's plenty to talk about with your fellow classmates, okay? So I'm going to keep it pretty short and sweet. That is it for what's going on this week, and I will talk to you at the beginning of next week. Have a good one, folks. Bye-bye.